My name is Emily. This is a story about a promise made under a sky full of stars. It's a story about my best friend Leo, and a friendship that I hoped would last forever. When I was a little girl, I lived in a small town. The houses were not too big. There were many trees, and at night, oh, the stars were so bright. You could see so many of them, like tiny diamonds scattered on a dark blue blanket. My best friend was a boy named Leo. He lived just a few houses away from me. Leo and I did everything together. We were like two peas in a pod. That's what my mom used to say. We played in the park. We climbed trees. We built secret forts in the woods behind our houses. Leo was brave. He was always ready for an adventure. I was a little more quiet. But with Leo, I felt brave too. He made me feel like I could do anything. We went to the same school. We were in the same class. We shared our lunches. We told each other secrets, big secrets and small secrets. He knew all my dreams, and I knew all his. He wanted to be an astronaut. He wanted to fly to the moon. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to write stories about brave children and magical adventures. I remember one summer night. It was very warm. The air was still. Leo and I were sitting in my backyard. We were on an old wooden swing set. Our parents let us stay out late. We were looking up at the stars. There were millions of them. So many stars. The moon was a silver crescent. It smiled down at us. "Emily," Leo said, his voice soft. "Look at all those stars." I nodded. "They are beautiful," I whispered. "Do you think they see us?" he asked. "Maybe," I said. "Maybe they are watching over us." Leo was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Emily, let's make a promise." "A promise?" I asked. I loved making promises. It felt important. "Yes," he said. "A promise under the stars. A special promise. That no matter what happens, no matter where we go, we will always be best friends. Always." I looked at him. His eyes were shining in the starlight. He looked so serious. My heart felt warm. "Yes, Leo," I said. "Always. Best friends forever." And, he added, "Let's promise something else. Let's promise that one day, when we are grown up, we will meet right here, under these same stars, on this same night, 20 years from tonight." 20 years. It sounded like such a long time, a lifetime away. I was only 10 years old then. 20 years, I repeated. "Will we remember?" "We have to remember," Leo said. "It's a star promise. They are the strongest kind." He held out his pinky finger. I linked my pinky finger with his. We shook on it. "A pinky promise. Under the stars. Best friends forever," I said. "And we'll meet here in 20 years," he replied. That was our promise. Our secret, special promise, made under a blanket of stars. It felt so real, so important. I believed it with all my heart. The years went by. Leo and I stayed best friends. We went through middle school together. We shared more secrets, more dreams. We still played together. though our games changed a little. We rode our bikes further. We explored new places. The old swing set in my backyard was still there. Sometimes we would sit there at night. We would look at the stars, and we would remember our promise. We didn't talk about it much, but I knew he remembered, and he knew I did. It was a silent understanding between us. Then, when we were 15, something changed. Leo's father got a new job, a job in a big city, far away from our small town, very far away. Leo told me one afternoon. We were sitting by the river, our favorite spot. The sun was going down. The sky was orange and pink. My dad got a new job, he said quietly. He didn't look at me. He threw a stone into the water. Oh, I said. My heart dropped a little. Is it a good job? Yes, he said. It's a very good job, but it's in another city. Another city? I asked. Which city? He told me the name. It was so far. I had only seen it on maps. We have to move, Emily, he said. His voice was sad. The whole family. I felt like crying. Move? Leo was moving? My best friend? It felt like my world was ending. When? I asked. My voice was small. Next month, he said. Next month. So soon. We wouldn't finish school together. We wouldn't graduate together. We sat there in silence for a long time. The sun set. The first stars started to appear. What about our promise, Leo? I finally asked. The promise under the stars. The meeting in 20 years. Now it seemed even more important, and even harder to keep. Leo looked at me. His eyes were sad. We'll keep it, Emily, he said. I'll remember. I will come back. I promise. Promise? I asked. Promise, he said. A star promise. I tried to be brave. For him. For us. But it was hard. So hard. The day Leo left was one of the saddest days of my life. I stood on my porch. I watched his family's car drive away. Leo looked back. He waved. I waved back until the car was just a tiny dot. Then it was gone. Tears ran down my face. My best friend was gone. Our small town felt empty without him. We tried to stay in touch. We wrote letters at first, real letters, with paper and stamps. I loved getting his letters. He told me about his new school, his new city. It sounded so big, so different from our town. He said he missed our old woods, our river. He said he missed me. I missed him too, so much. Then we started emailing. It was faster, but it didn't feel the same as holding his letters. As we got older, life got busier. High school, college studies, new friends, new interests. Our emails became less frequent. Sometimes weeks would pass, then months. I still thought about Leo often. I wondered what he was doing. If he was happy. If he still dreamed of being an astronaut. And I always remembered our promise. The promise under the stars. Years passed. Many years. I finished college. I became a teacher. Not a writer of magical stories, but I loved teaching children. I loved seeing their eyes light up when they learned something new. I still lived in our small town. It hadn't changed much. The stars at night were still as bright. Sometimes I would sit on the old swing set in my parents' backyard. It was still there, a bit more weathered, a bit creaky. I would look up at the sky, and I would think about Leo and our promise. 20 years. It was a long time. Had he remembered? After all this time? After all the changes in our lives? People change. Lives change. Friendships can fade. It's a sad truth, but it happens. I wondered if he was married, if he had children, if he had become an astronaut, or if his dreams had changed, like mine had a little. The date of our promise grew closer. The special night. 20 years from that summer evening when we were 10. My heart started to beat faster whenever I thought about it. A mix of hope and fear. What if he didn't come? What if he had forgotten? It would be okay, I told myself. Life happens. But deep inside, a small part of me would be so sad. A week before the date, I felt so nervous. Should I do anything? Should I just go to the backyard and wait? What if he was there? What would I say? What if he wasn't? How long should I wait? My mom saw me looking thoughtful. "What's on your mind, Emily?" she asked. I told her about the promise Leo and I made so long ago. She smiled, a soft, knowing smile. "That's a beautiful promise, dear," she said. "Childhood promises are precious." She didn't say if she thought he would remember. She just listened. The day finally arrived, the 20th anniversary of our star promise. All day, I felt a strange mix of excitement and anxiety. I went to work. I taught my students, but my mind was elsewhere. It was on a summer night 20 years ago, and on what might happen tonight. As evening came, I went to my parents' house, my old backyard. The old swing set was still there. I sat down on one of the swings, just like I did so many years ago. The sun began to set. The sky turned orange, then pink, then a deep purple. Just like that evening by the river when Leo told me he was moving. My heart was pounding. I felt like I was 10 years old again, waiting for an adventure. The first stars appeared, one by one, then more and more. Soon the sky was full of them, millions of tiny, twinkling lights. It was a beautiful night, a perfect night for a star promise. I looked around. The yard was quiet, empty. Just me and the stars. I waited. Minutes passed. They felt like hours. Was he coming? Did he remember? I started to feel a little sad. Maybe it was silly. A childhood promise. 20 years is a long time. He probably had a busy life. A family. Maybe he lived on the other side of the world. Maybe our small town, our childhood, was just a distant memory for him. A faded photograph. I took a deep breath. It's okay, I told myself. It was a beautiful promise. And I remembered. That was something. The memory itself was precious. I looked up at the stars again. They seemed to whisper, "It's okay. Some things are just meant to be beautiful memories." And then I heard a sound, a soft sound. Footsteps on the grass. My heart jumped. I turned around. A figure was walking towards me. A tall figure. A man. He stepped into the faint light coming from the house. My breath caught in my throat. It couldn't be. Could it? He came closer. He stopped a few feet away from the swing set. He was older, of course. A man now, not a boy. But his eyes. I knew those eyes. And his smile. That shy, kind smile. "Leo?" I whispered. My voice trembled. He smiled wider. "Hello, Emily," he said. His voice was deeper now, but it was him. It was really him. Tears welled up in my eyes. Tears of disbelief. Tears of joy. "You came," I said. My voice choked with emotion. "You remembered?" Leo walked over to the other swing. He sat down. "Just like old times." "Of course. I remembered," he said softly. "It was a star promise, wasn't it? The strongest kind." He looked up at the sky. 20 years, he said. "It feels like yesterday, and a lifetime ago. All at once, I couldn't stop smiling. He was here. He remembered. Our promise was not forgotten. We talked for hours that night. Under the same stars. On the same old swing set. He told me about his life. He didn't become an astronaut. He became an engineer. He designed things. Clever things. He was married. He had 2 children, a boy and a girl, just like we had dreamed for ourselves in a way. He lived in a different state, still far, but not as far as the moon. He asked me about my life. I told him about being a teacher, about still living in our small town, about my parents. He said, "You always loved this town, Emily, and you always loved stories. Teaching children is like sharing stories every day." He understood. He still understood me. He told me he almost didn't come. Life was busy. It was a long trip. He wasn't sure if I would remember, or if I would even be here. But something told me I had to try, he said. Some promises you just have to keep, or at least try to. "I'm so glad you did, Leo," I said. My heart felt so full, so incredibly happy. We talked about our childhood, our adventures, our secrets. We laughed. We remembered things we thought we had forgotten. It was like no time had passed. And yet, so much time had passed. We were different people, grown-ups, with grown-up lives. But under the stars in that old backyard, we were also still those 2 children, Emily and Leo, best friends. As the night grew very late, and the stars began to fade with the first hint of dawn, Leo said he had to go. He had a long drive back. "Will I see you again?" I asked. I didn't want this night to end. "Yes," he said. "We won't wait another 20 years. That's another promise." He smiled. We exchanged phone numbers, email addresses, modern ways to keep in touch. easier than old-fashioned letters. He stood up. I stood up too. He gave me a hug. A warm, friendly hug. "Thank you, Emily," he said, "for remembering, for being here." "Thank you for coming, Leo," I said. "It means the world to me." He walked away. I watched him go, just like I did all those years ago. But this time my heart wasn't sad. It was full of warmth, full of joy. Our friendship, it turned out, had lasted. It had weathered time and distance and change. The promise we made as children, under a sky full of stars, it was real. It was strong. Leo and I do keep in touch now. We call, we email. Maybe one day our families will meet. Maybe we will visit each other. It's not the same as having your best friend next door, but it's something precious. A connection that time could not break. So that is my story. The story of a promise and a friendship. Sometimes life takes us on different paths. We grow up, we move away, we change. And it's easy to think that old connections will fade, that promises will be forgotten. But sometimes, just sometimes, they don't. Sometimes the bonds we make, especially when we are young, are stronger than we think. If you have a special friend, someone you shared dreams with, hold on to that connection. It's precious. And if you made a promise, even a childhood promise, remember it. Maybe it's not always possible to keep every detail. Life can be complicated, but the feeling behind the promise, the love, the friendship, that can last. It really can. It's okay to feel nostalgic for the past. It's okay to wonder about old friends. Maybe reach out. You never know. A simple hello can rebuild a bridge. Friendship is a gift. Cherish it, nurture it, and believe in the power of promises, especially those made under the stars. You are strong. Your memories are important, and your connections matter. Keep believing in the good things. They often find a way to last.